Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome everyone to another live in our self-awareness live stream series. My name is Popson Francis. I am the founder and CEO of Eurique LLC, where we thrive through transformation. I am your self development educator. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. We are happy that you're here. And I want to give a special shout out for the almost 100 new subscribers. Thank you for making this your community. Thank you for making this your space. And you are going to thrive and grow right here. Right here. For those of you who've been with us for a while, for those of you who've been with us from the very beginning, thank you for your support. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for sharing the channel. Thank you for sharing the pages. Thank you for just always being there. I appreciate it. We are going to get started, but I have a little technical difficulty. So let me connect, because right now those on Facebook, they may be wondering what is happening. Why don't I see Popsan tonight? What is happening with the self-awareness series? So let me get them connected. And then we'll begin. Save. And Facebook is loading, and it's loaded. All right, wonderful. For those of you who are here, I do see the gathering. I see the gathering. Please drop a comment. Yes, put a comment in and let me know where you're coming from, or just say present. Present, we are here. Present, ready for class. Say hi. Let me know how was your day. Just put it in the comments. All right, so I can welcome you officially to tonight's session. We are going to get started. All right. Oh, share the link, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing the link. Just grab it, whether you're joining us from Melanie Brooks says, present teacher. Wonderful. Good student. Thank you for joining this evening. So please share the link. If you're here, go ahead, just grab the link, share it out on your social media, send it to a friend via text message, SMS, send it to a friend on WhatsApp, share it on Facebook, share it to Instagram, share it to TikTok, share it to LinkedIn, share it to all the other shareable places that I have not mentioned this evening. All right. Let me just put something up for you. You can definitely follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and our handle, it's below. It is thrive at, is it handle or angle? Handle. I think it's handle. Yeah. Anyway, the thing that you should use to follow us to make it easier, it is thrive at Eurique 1. And that's our handle for our social media platforms. All right, so please go ahead. Welcome, Janielle. Welcome, Carlene. Good night, good night, good night. We're going to check in shortly. We're just doing some warming up, some kickstart as we dive in, and giving you an opportunity to share the link. Blessings, blessings. What? Hi, Odiaga. How are you? Nice to see you, darling. All right. Well, nice to see your name. Okay. Please note that you can also visit our website at thriveateurique.com. So that's where you can become more familiar with the services that we offer, and we can partner together. To the top of my screen, there's a QR code. That is the QR code to order the PDF for the self-growth worksheet. And I'm going to put the link in the chat as well. So if you have not yet procure that, if you've not yet purchased that, I'm going to encourage you to purchase it. There's still time to do so that you can continue learning with us. So that's the PDF version of the self-growth worksheet. Let me show you what that looks like. Oh, not that. This one. Let me remove that one and add this one. That one. That's the one I'm referring to. So that's the self growth worksheet. You can purchase that. I'm also going to put the link to the Kindle version. Remember, I told you the last time that it is on Amazon as well. So if you want a digital version, you can do that. Let me put that in the comments for you. All right, there you go. So that's your textbook for the course, but a fun textbook, fun, right? So that's the PDF version. And then the Kindle version, and the links are in the chat. We are 20 strong. We're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to add the PowerPoint to the stage. Again, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the self-awareness series. You are a part of the Eurique community where we thrive through transformation. And we're still participating or delving into module 1, which is Introduction to Self-Awareness. And today's topic is lesson 3, identifying your core values, identifying your core values. But as you know, before we delve into the lesson, we're going to do a little revision, and I want to hear how you did with your homework. Remember the homework? Anybody remembers the homework? The self-growth worksheet? Come, everybody. All right, we're going to talk about it. So let's look at that. Stay connected to our social media platform. This is a more visual representation of that. You can take a screenshot so you can follow. You can also contact us for our services and partnership via WhatsApp or phone call, text message at 631-635-0431. That's 631-635-0431. Guess what? Congratulations. When we met 4 weeks ago, believe it or not, we did the introduction when we spoke about breaking barriers. And then after tonight has concluded, you would have completed module 1, Introduction to Self-Awareness. So next week, we're going to begin module 2. Isn't that exciting? Stay tuned, share the link, because the journey is going to get even better. So as I said, we're still exploring module 1, Introduction to Self-Awareness. And let's review lesson 2. So last week, we looked at exploring personal identity. Let me get some feedback. How was last week's lesson? Put it in the chat. Oh, joining for the first time all the way from Guyana. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you coming from Guyana. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for joining. All right. So last week we looked at exploring personal identity. How was it last week for those of you who are here? Anything comes to mind? Anything that you remember from last week? Anything that resonated with you and you're like, wow, I want to practice that going forward, right? As you type in the chat, let's do a quick revision. So last week we spoke about the definition of self-concept. And during that lesson, we discovered it was reinforced that self-concept is a comprehensive understanding of who you are. Not a perfect understanding, but a comprehensive understanding. Looking at the strengths, the weaknesses, the areas of developments, right? The areas of strengths, the areas of growth. We also said that there are certain things that influence our self-concept, like our family of origin can influence our self-concept, the people with whom we associate, right? Media, social media, life experiences, all of those things can help to influence our self-concept. And we spoke about some ways as well to develop a healthy self-concept, like journaling, taking the time to meditate, taking the time to reflect, taking the time to choose your associations very wisely so those positive influences can make you a better version of yourself. Okay. Odell, you have a welcome in the chat. So somebody's connecting with you in the chat. I love it. I love it. We also shared last week that there are 3 parts of your self-concept. You have your self-image, which is what you see, what you observe, whether those are physical characteristics, habits, yeah, temperaments, personality types. And then we said that the self-esteem is the feeling you have about those observations, right? The worth and the value, the judgment you place on those, whether negative or positive. And then we moved on and we said that your ideal self is what you hope to be. So if you make an observation about your self image and you apply a negative value to that, your ideal self can come into place to make you feel proud or to change or adjust the things that are not positive about you. And no worries, if you're like, how do I get to my ideal self? You're in the right place, because we are talking about self awareness. So that's a quick revision. For those of you who were not here last week, or Del, you were not here, this is your first time, I'm going to encourage you to revisit the recording from last week, lesson 2, and see how that goes. Now let's see what's happening in the chat. Hi, Tamara. Tamara says, good evening, everybody. By the way, when your classmates and your peers tell you good evening in the chat, you can respond, because you're interacting with each other, right? So say good evening. Let everybody know that, hey, I see you. I see you. And thank you so much for welcoming me. For those of you who are just coming in, thank you for joining, and come to the front of the class, right? So for those who are late, we save the front seats for you. All right, let's continue. So today, lesson 3, identifying core values. This is an important part of your self-awareness. And these are the objectives that we want to achieve this evening. So by the end of this evening's lesson, you will be able to do 4 things. Number 1, you will be able to articulate the significance of personal values in shaping your identity, influencing your behavior, and guiding your life choices. Many of us are in dilemma about choices that we need to make because we don't know what our core values are. And understanding your core values is going to put you in a very informed position, so you know what is for you and what is not for you based on those core values. So some of us need to tighten up those core values, just as how we go to the gym and tighten our core, our physical core. Number 2, objective 2, you will be able to evaluate different types of impacts that value have on decision making. What is the impact of your values on decision making? Number 3, you're going to engage in self-reflection activities to assess your core values. Because the truth is, some of us have not really taken the time. Let me put this up. Yes. So the truth is, some of us have not taken the time to sit, reflect, and to ponder, what are my core values? What are the norms, the things that I live by? And because you have not established core values, people come and they box you and they box you and they box you all over the place. All right, let me translate that. People come and it's like a free-for-all. You're tugged in one direction, you're pulled in the next, you're pushed in another, because you do not know what you stand for. So knowing what you stand for is going to help you to make informed decisions, and you're going to become more self-aware. All right, wonderful. I'm so glad you're with me. All right. And then the next objective is you will be able to develop actionable strategies to align your daily choices and goals with identified values. So there's going to be a synchronization, a correlation, right? A causal effect, as it were. So you're going to be able to develop actionable strategies to align your choices, your choices, your goals with your values, so that you can have greater fulfillment in life, greater satisfaction, and even greater authenticity in your personal and your professional life. Because knowing your core values, it will not only affect you. Let me come on screen. Knowing your core values will not only affect you personally and familially, it's going to also affect you professionally. All right. Okay. Wonderful. Let's move forward. Come right in if you're just joining. So happy you're here. You are in tune to your self-awareness course, Module 1, Introduction to Self-Awareness. Lesson 3, we're looking at your core values. So let's talk about what your core values are. Your core values are your fundamental beliefs, the basic things, the building blocks, as it were. And these help to guide how you view the world. And they also influence your decisions, your actions, and your interactions with others. And no wonder that sometimes when we observe people and we are flabbergasted, we are in shock, we are surprised when we observe people and we can't believe why they did something or why they didn't. It is because maybe they're operating out of their core values. Have you ever been in a situation where a choice is presented before you and right off the bat, immediately you know it's not for me? Why? Or immediately you know it's for you. Why? Your values are at play. And many of us have internal conflict when the decisions we make go against our values. Do I have a witness in here? Is there anybody on the call, on the live tonight, Facebook, YouTube, chime in, where you have made a decision that resulted in inner conflict and maybe even conflict with others? But let's focus on the inner conflict. And you're like, why do I feel uncomfortable? Why do I have this conflict? It may be because you went against your values. And that is why it is so important that we don't judge people, because all of us have acted outside of our value at some point in time. But the good thing is we're able to realign. Yeah. We're able to develop. We're able to pivot so we can come back to our true selves. And somebody needs to hear that tonight, because all have sinned and come short. All right. Hi, good night. This is Joanna. Hi, Joanna. Thank you for joining. Great program. Wishing a wide viewership. You know, you can help with the viewership though. Yeah, man, you can share it with everybody, you know. All right, wonderful. Pleasant evening. Welcome. Jania says, yes, I've experienced that inner conflict already. Absolutely, absolutely. So let's continue. Okay. So your values, they represent what we consider to be important, and they shape our understanding of right, and they shape our understanding of wrong, and they also affect our sense of fulfillment. So, for anybody on this call who has been in a situation where your choices were antithetical, they were opposite, they were opposed to your values, you know what that is like, the inner turmoil. But as soon as you align yourself back to the values that you stand for, that conflict dissipates until it evaporates. It disappears because you're now in alignment with who you are, and values can definitely change. I want to hear from you based on the definition. I'm going to put the definition back on screen, and I want you to share with me what are some values that you live by. Even if you never thought about it before, by observing, listening to the explanation that I've given, reading the definition, contemplating it, what are some values that you live by? Here are the pieces. Fundamental beliefs that guide how we view the world and influence our decisions and our actions and our interactions with others. It represents what we consider important, shaping our understanding of right and wrong and affecting our sense of fulfillment. Put in the chat, what are some of your values? Facebook community, let me see you representing tonight. YouTube, let me see you representing tonight. What are some of your values? What do you live by? What impacts your decisions on a day to day? All right, they're coming in. They're coming in. Give me an example of a principle tomorrow. Give me an example of a principle that you live by. And I like that word. I like that word. Maybe we could use it synonymously for the purpose of the conversation. Dig deep and give me one of those principles. Jania says one of the principles that she lives by is fairness, equity, fair. Tamara, what is one of your principles? Others in the class tonight, share with me some of the values that you live by. 1, 2, 3, however many you want to type. And then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to that. All right. Uh, G. Smith, my mother, said honesty. That's one of the values that she lives by. Uh, C. Smith says doing the right thing. Doing the right thing. All right, good. Doing the right thing. Tamara says honesty is one of the values. Janiel says in all caps and about a dozen exclamation marks, loyalty. Loyalty. Come on, everybody. There's so many of us on the call tonight. I want to hear from you. Those of you are in the back of the class, come, tell me what are some of the values that you live by. Let's hear it. All right. So C. Smith says, doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do based on your value. Wonderful. Vashana says, I live by the values of faith, family, loyalty, growth, emotional depth, and building a stable, meaningful life with strong connections. Love it. Here's the follow-up question. It's good to list these values, but do you see yourself actually living them? Don't answer too quickly. Don't answer too quickly, right? If you say you live by the value of honesty, when an opportunity comes for you to kind of cut the corner, right? Cut the corner, nobody will know. Do you abandon your values? Because if you abandon your values when it's convenient, are you really self-aware? You need a barometer, you need a thermometer, as it were, to guide you along life's journey. In A. Hamilton says, trying not to hurt people. She lives by the value of love. And I love that, trying not to hurt people. That's a very good value. Tamara says, yes, I agree with Jenny. Loyalty is very important. C. Wilson says, self-respect and respect others. What does that look like? Because what I want us to do this evening is not just to list words because they sound good, but to really take the time to reflect on a situation or situations in our lives and say, did I demonstrate the value that I assert? Do I live by the values that I confess? Because someone who is not self-aware will say all good things about themselves. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of it all, do you apply what you profess? All right. Alcine Bell say, I live by the value of gratitude and compassion. Of course, deep question, Janiel. Very deep question. And not for you to rattle off the answers, but for you to do some introspection. All right. Wonderful. Perfect. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's talk about types of core values, because out of your secondary values come from your core values. So we're going to observe the first type of core value. Hi, Icole. Hi, Icole. I'm trying not to call out your full names because, you know, it's the internet and things are crazy. So I'm using your initial. So hi. All right. I live by my values tomorrow. T. Freeman says, I live by my values. I love it. I love it. All right. Number one, personal values. These reflect personal beliefs and priorities, such as things like honesty, empathy, perseverance, loyalty, as Janiel said, and others said it as well. T. Freeman said it as well. So think about your personal values. These are your social values, things that you espouse personally, and it comes out in your interactions and relations with others. So compassion, care, forgiveness. Do you live by that value? Understanding, patience, the fundamental things that make you who you are. And for those of us who are Christians, Jesus has a way of restructuring our values and adding values to our life as we grow in Him. Another type of core value is your professional value. And I'm going to make a distinction here in just a moment. So your professional value, these guide your work ethic and behaviors in your career setting, things like integrity, collaboration, innovation, growth, honesty. Here's a catch. Here's a catch for some of us. There is a disparity in many of us. The disparity, the contradiction in many of us, and this is the contradiction. In our personal life, we have values, good values, but in our professional life, no. Can you be one person at work and one person in your personal life? That is a multi-layered question, because the truth is, yes, we all are. We all show up differently in different spaces. But when you look at the fundamental building blocks of what make you you, there shouldn't be an incongruence. Talk to me. What do you think about that? I want to hear your thoughts on that. Type it in the comments. Do you show up differently in different spaces? And because you show up differently, does that mean that you should have different values in different spaces? Question to the teacher, to the self-development educator. And I love when you ask the questions. If our repeated actions point to an undesirable trait, does it become a value? Value is the fundamental building block that make up who you are. It is out of our value that we live. It is out of our values that our actions come. And I'm not going to say, we slip up every now and again. Everybody, as I said, nobody's perfect. Everybody slips up. Everybody, in ways that we could not even imagine, in ways that we would never think ourselves to. We fall. And that is a fact of life. Anybody who says otherwise, you're not self-aware, you're not honest. But when that slip up is consistent, take the time to ask yourself, where's this coming from? I pause for effect. Because we live out of the values that we espouse. So for some people who may say, I have the value of honesty, but you cannot be trusted with money. You cannot be trusted with people's secrets. You cannot be trusted with people's vulnerability. You don't speak the truth. You dabble between lie and truth, and you say, you know what, I believe in honesty. Do you? Because your actions and your lived experience does not reflect that. Let me know if that brought insight, and I also want to hear from you if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. This is the space where we share. I didn't see in parentheses, Jay Samuel, when you said asking for a friend, like for example, tardiness. But it's contradictory, right? Someone who is self-aware, you say, you know what? One of the fundamental values that I espouse in my life is to respect people's time and to be a steward of the time that God has given me, because I'm a productive person, but you're always late. And if someone says, meet me at 8, you come at 9. But you said, you know what? No, man, I respect people. Do you? Something to think about. And that's why I endeavored at a point in my life to really try to respect people's time. Because before, I used to be so tardy. Time meant nothing to me. If you told me 8, I could reach 8:15. What's the big deal? But then I had an epiphany. I'm showing a lack of respect to others. All right, let's move on. I have quit a job because it goes against my values. Bam, that's it right there. A. Hamilton, some of us are in relationships, some of us are in business arrangements, some of us are a part of friendships, some of us are even a part of religious organizations and communities because we don't know what our values are. Hear the birds chirping? We don't know. So we're constantly in conflict with ourselves and constantly in conflict with each other. Because today you behave a particular way, tomorrow you have a new set of values, and people are confused. But then we say we're self-aware, are we? All right. Next. T. Freeman said, I stand by my values anywhere I go. Love, love it. Jay Sawad says, oh, take time with me there. I translate, take your time. Be patient with me. Like, really, Lord, take your time. That hits a nerve. Skipper says, I go to church on Sabbath with a different approach than when I go to work, but I have the same values. Absolutely. I love it. So you show up differently in different spaces that require certain types of behaviors, but your fundamental values should remain the same. Good night, Rose. I miss a lot of, and that's okay. You can go back and watch the recording, but no worry, come to the front of the class and we're going to review as we go forward. Nobody's being left behind. So what we're talking about now are the core values. And we said personal values and we have professional values. All right, let's move forward. We also have social values. So these shape how individuals interact with others. I'm going to go back a slide. Let's go back a slide and clarify something. When we talk about personal values, what word comes to my mind, or the word that comes to my mind, is integrity. Deep inside of you that nobody sees, when nobody's watching, but they help to drive your behavior and drive your lifestyle. Those are your personal values, where you don't have to announce it to anyone, but by the way you operate and show up in the world, people can deduce and identify your values. That's okay. Sorry for being late. Apology accepted. I won't mark you down. All right. I want to keep this in mind. This is a good point. L. Anderson, I want to highlight your point. You said values shouldn't be watered down. Let me come on screen big time for this. Do we all have the same values? Respond to your teacher. Do we all have the same values? I want to put this on screen. Values shouldn't be watered down. Do we all have the same values? Values are fundamental building blocks that make you who you are. Wonderful. We don't all have the same values. Some values, we consider them to be right and wrong. Correct? Correct? Right? But there are other values that are not of morality. It's not right or wrong. It's how you show up in the world and the belief that you have about the world and how you show up in it. Why am I stressing this? We have to be patient with each other. Someone, I'm going to give you an example. Someone may have the value of candor. They're candid, they're frank, they're to the point, they're honest. Okay? Right? That's a value that they live by. Somebody else may not have that value. They're not as candid, they're not as frank. And so what we do sometimes is to label people's values of as right or wrong. For those of us who come from a moral, biblical standing, there are certain things for us that are definitely right and some that are definitely wrong based on the prescription that God has given us. But there are other things that are not. And so not because someone does not accept or respect or adhere to your values mean that there's something wrong with them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know if it does or if it does not make sense. And I'm going to share another example with you. My husband visited Africa a few years ago and he learned something. He learned that the part of Africa that he visited, if you set an event for 9 o'clock, it doesn't mean they'll show up at 9. They may show up at 11, even 12. You're talking about 2-3 hours after. And this is not stereotypical. That's I'm very specific. The part of Africa where he visited, that specific community, which would be a dot on the entire continent, but that was his experience. And so he was curious and he asked, we were supposed to start at XYZ time. Why are the people coming 2-3 hours late? And they said, we're not late. Like, how are you not late? And they explained that in that particular culture, it is the event that is important. Showing up and giving your all, whether you come at 9 or 11 or 12, that's the value. Now, for those of us who are time, if it's 9, it's 9. Don't come 9:01, don't come 9:10. We may look at someone in that culture and say, wow, their value is so horrible, it's so bad, but is it? Let me know if that illustration makes sense about how we can be patient with each other, even when we do not live by the same values. Because a value that can come out of that is the value of respect. That even though we disagree, even though we don't see eye to eye, I can still respect you because that's a value. Make sense? No? Kind of ish? Let me know. I want to hear your feedback, right? Because remember, we're interactive in this space. So that's the personal, that's the professional value. We have the social value, respect, justice, compassion. Basically, how do we treat others? And can I say something here? Can I top doc? Can I say something here? There is an inconsistency with what so many of us preach and teach and say, and how we interact with other people. There is such an incongruence. And I say to myself, what is happening? Because how can I say I love, and how can I say I respect and I have compassion? But if somebody does something wrong or makes a blunder or they do not live up to the expectations that we have of them, all of a sudden they're nothing. They don't mean anything, that they're not valued. But yet still we say we love and we are compassionate. It baffles me. And I'm not saying this because I've attained, I'm saying it because I've struggled with it as well. Where we do not make people's misfortune synonymous with who they are. And I'm speaking to those in the back, or maybe those at the front. So at the end of this evening's class, if you do not contemplate anything else, contemplate this. Are my values in action? Or are they in the museum? You didn't get that metaphor. You got it or you missed it. Are my values in action, or are they locked in a museum where I can look at them and say how pretty they are, how wonderful they look, but they really mean nothing practically? Hey, let me go to the comments. Let me go to the comments. Deep stuff, we're talking about self-awareness. We're talking about self-awareness. All right. So V Stewart says, I'm a teacher, and this kind of reminded me when my son attended the same school I taught. His teacher made a comment as if she wanted me to show up as Miss So-and-so, being that we were co-workers. But in my son's eyes, I am his mother, and I showed up for him as such. I had to let her know I'm sorry, but I'm not Miss So-and-so to my son. That is self-awareness. We all have different roles in different situations and different circumstances. Authentically speaking, truth be gold says, sometimes some things are just common sense. I love the candor. Is one of your values candor and transparency? However, I have learned that common sense is not common. So that is my way of giving grace. Love it. Love it. All right. Jay Salmon says, love that point, Laurel. Values should not be watered down. And C. Smith says, yes, the consistency is a big failing. Absolutely agree with you. All right, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Spiritual or moral values, these relate to deeper beliefs. And these beliefs, they drive your purpose, your meaning. They are much deeper than just how you interact with people and how you go to work and what you think about yourself. It drives your purpose. It drives your meaning. It drives your faith. So some of your spiritual values could be faith, humility, gratitude. And as we're going through the lesson tonight, I really want, if you can take a pen or a paper or something and actually list what your values are. Ask yourself, what are my professional values? What are my personal values? What are my social values? What are my spiritual or my moral values? And then ask yourself, am I actually living these on a day-to-day basis? And living out your values, it's not like a movie set where it's grandeur. It's the everyday simple things that you know who you are. So the things that you really sometimes you don't pay attention to, that's when you really see who you are. And one of the greatest ways that people demonstrate the values that they live by is how they treat others, especially others who cannot benefit them anymore, others who cannot give them any advantage, and others who have fallen. Show me how you treat someone who is in need of grace, and that is going to tell me who you are. S. Petty says, no pun intended, you may have an on-time employee every day, but produces 4 hours of work and still behind. You have the 10-minute late employee every day that gives a full 8 hours of work and productivity. So you're looking at how different values can show up. Jay Salmon says, that's so true, Suzanne. I've seen it time and time. I just love when you interact with each other. Truth be told, this is a question for all of us. All of us. We're going to personalize it. Are my values being seen? Are my values being seen by me? Because you have to live with yourself. Are my values being seen by others? Because we're supposed to use our steward of influence so that others can be better. And are my values being seen by God? Because when nobody else understands, and even when we don't understand who we are, God sees everything. Very good point and great question. Let's move forward. It's time for the values worksheet. All right. And we're going to do one of the activities together. And then the other you're going to do by yourself. So go to your self-growth worksheet and you're making your way to page 17. Page 17 of the self-growth worksheet. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do activity 2 right now. And then you're going to do activity 1 as your homework. All right, page 17. So if it's activity 2, it's page 18. Go to page 18 of your self-growth worksheet. For those of you, I can't get to screenshot. Okay, that's all right. You can watch the recording and go to the timestamp around 42 minutes and you'll see it. So page 18 of the self-growth worksheet. And this activity, it has a heart in the middle and there are 5 circles around it. And it says, list your top 5 core value. Oh, the self-growth worksheet, if you didn't purchase it, mama, you won't have it. The QR code is in the corner of the screen. The QR code, it's in the corner of the screen. So you can purchase it there. Yeah, you can purchase it there and I'll email it to you. All right. But you won't see it in the chat. So we're opening our textbooks. That's why I encourage you to purchase it so you can have your textbook. All right. So list your top 5 core values, put them in the circle. Take some time to think about it. Don't rush through it. The top 5 things that you live by, the top 5 things that make you who you are. If you want to add a spiritual one, if you want to add a personal one, if you want to add a social one, if you want to add a professional one, and then a bonus, feel free to do that. All right. I'm going to put the link in the chat, Vashana, because I realize you're asking for it. Give me a sec. Let me put it in for you. Yes, you will see the slide. Yes. Yes, Rose, you will. All right. So that's the link to get the self-growth worksheet in the PDF so you can print it and have it ready for class. All right. So complete that, and then we're going to move forward. List your top 5 core values. For those of you who want to put your top 5 core values in the chat, please share with others, share it in the chat, and then we can see who has similar values. That would be a really good exercise. Put it in the chat. All right. Oh, someone said, also, I'm the only one over here. I'd love to interact with you. Oh, I know. Get the self-growth worksheet. Get it. Yeah. Oh, the only one by Facebook. Oh, Most of our viewers are from YouTube because that's the link I usually send out, but that's all right. Okay. Type your 5 top core values. I know you may have more, but I want you to focus on the 5. Just 5 for this evening. And then I want you to be very intentional with living based on those 5 values. While you're filling it out, I'm going to share a story with you. So this week, my godmother, she shared a video on her social. And I'm going to give you a synopsis, right? So basically, her husband was driving a few years ago, 20-something years ago, I believe. He was driving and he pounced upon a purse, a pocketbook, a bag. And in the bag, there was no ID. Wait, before I even said there's no ID, in the bag, there was money, right? But there was no identification. And I'm wondering, for some of us who say, you know, my value is honesty. Maybe when you saw the bag first, you'd be like, you know, I need to return this. But when you look in the bag and there's no ID, maybe the thought would be, I don't know who it belongs to. I'm just going to take this money. I think we need to vote on that in the chat. But they didn't. They researched, they found a slip of paper where the owner of the bag cashed their check, and they went to the place that the person cashed the check, and I'm sure it was next door to where they lived. They found their way to the place that cashed the check. They researched, godmother, my godfather, they researched, yeah, and after they researched, they got a clue, and then they drove and found the lady's place of employment. Look at the inconvenience. Found the lady's place of employment. A translator had to come in play so they could communicate, so the lady could get back the bag with all the contents in it. I'm sharing the story to say our values are not always easy to live out. They're not always easy. Oh, wow. Yep. They're not always easy to live out. But how do you know it's your value? Even when the world is against you, even when people have a totally different perception of who you are, even when the stories you hear about yourself, you wonder if it's about you because everybody has something to say, even it's inconvenient. And sometimes you're even chastised for it. Are you still willing to live by that value? That's the real marker, the real metric check as to whether that's a value or it is some trendy thing that's going around and you're, oh yeah, I'm in the flow of it. If your value is respect and somebody disrespects you and you diss them back, in Jamaica, that's what we say. You return, you reciprocate the disrespect, reciprocity here. And you ask yourself, do I really live by the value of respect? Or can I speak my mind and speak it very clearly, very authoritatively, very frank, with candor, but not be disrespectful? That's how you know if you're really living by the values that you're supposed. Yeah. All right, let's go. Talk to me. What are the 5 core values that you live by? What have you listed in the self-growth worksheet? I would love to hear. Because writing things down or writing things really help to reinforce the concept. So it's not just in your mind or in your thoughts, but you can look back at it. And that's why I encourage you to actually print the self-growth worksheet so you can have this to reflect on. All right. K. Hines, first one in. faith, empathy, communication, respect, and compassion. S. Salmon, faith, both of you listed faith first. Integrity, loyalty, fairness, and keeping my word. I'm saying them slowly because I want them to resonate with you. If you can put this somewhere so you can see this every day and say, today I am self aware, I am living by faith, empathy, integrity, loyalty, fairness. You know how loyalty shows up? When somebody you trust betrays you and you don't return the favor. Loyalty is not just being loyal to people who are loyal to you. Janiel, does that resonate? Loyalty? The example that I gave. Someone betrays you. You're a friend with someone, someone betrays you. And because you believe in loyalty, you don't return the favor of exposing their secrets and their vulnerabilities. It's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. But we're serious about growth and we're serious about developing. Thank you for participating in that exercise. What are some of the things? We're talking now about the impact of values on your decision. Values are going to impact your career choices. It usually does. It usually does. So values heavily influence your career decision. Some of us are in the career we are because of the values we espouse. All right. So, for instance, someone who values helping others may be drawn to fields like healthcare, education, medicine, social work. Another person may prioritize creativity. They may gravitate towards artistic or innovative careers. And if you are aligned or if you are in a career field that does not align with your value, that usually results in you being very dissatisfied and unfulfilled. So, with this information, some of you may begin exploring, why do I feel miserable in this career? Is it because it's not aligned with my values? All right. So, it's going to impact your career choice, it's going to impact your relationship. So, impact of values on decisions is going to impact the relationships you have, because values shape whom we connect with and how we build relationships. Let me come on screen big up here. So at this point, let me expand my view here, my screen view, solo view. Have you ever realized that there are just some people you cannot mesh with? There are just some people that you don't when I say mesh, that's a colloquial term. There are some people that you just cannot connect with no matter how hard you try. It's not for a lack of trying, but there's no synergy. You just can't. You're in the same family, you go to the same church, you're in the same environment, but there's just something. Many times it's the values. Spirit not take them. That's another way. Values not take them, right? The values, man. There's no synergy. There's no connection, and it's okay. It's okay. The Bible says, if it is possible, you must be at peace with all men. If it's possible, God knows it's not possible, but you can still respect people. You can still respect people, all right? That's possible. And there's some people, certain types of personality and persona and energy that you just gravitate to, even if you know nothing about the person. The values. Values are also going to impact your lifestyle choices. They play a significant role in your day-to-day decisions, from how you spend your money, how you spend your time, and the habits that you cultivate. If you have, and this is not, don't like take this like a rule of thumb, but I'm going to use it as an example. If you have the value of wanting to be the best, always wanting to be seen, always wanting to be heard in the spotlight, maybe that shows up with you mismanaging your finances. And you're like, why do I keep mismanaging my finances? Why do I keep spending when I don't need to? Why do I keep buying new clothes when I don't need it for every event because I want to look better than? So check your values. Does your value need some realignment and some readjustment? Because I kid you not, let me come on screen. I believe it or not, every single thing we do comes out of our values. You may not even recognize it. So now we're not just going to act and talk and do and be. We're going to dig deeper because we're becoming more self-aware. Life is no longer going to happen to us on autopilot, where we believe the world is against us and everybody is against us. But we're going to do some self-examination and be aware about how we show up in the world. Next, values are going to impact, for example, someone who prioritizes health and nutrition, you're going to exercise. Someone who prioritizes knowledge and self-growth, you are going to subscribe to Eurique and be a part of the self-growth and self-awareness series so you can grow. So everything. Values even impact your long-term goals because they're going to guide the long-term goals that you set, the aspirations, and they're going to help us identify what truly matters and help us keep focused when things go awry, when things do not go our way. They're going to help us to remain focused when the world is against us. It's your values that does that, When you have your values that do that, when you have a value of tenacity and resilience, and you believe that it's going to work out and you're going to get on the other side, even if the gates of hell are arrayed against you, that value of tenacity and resilience and belief in God and faith is going to show up, and you're going to activate the world around you. Doors are going to be open to you. But if your value is as soon as the going gets tough, I get going, then your life is going to come in alignment with that. Can I hear an amen from the back? I know we're not in church, but can we hear amen from the back? Can I hear a yes? Yes, from the back. I'm telling you, we don't spend, all of us, we do not spend enough time being self-aware and understand, we don't spend enough time to understand why we do the things we do. We just move from day to day like a remote. Everybody else has the remote to our lives and they're just pressing. It's time for you to take charge because you were created to have dominion over your circumstances. You were created to have dominion over your interactions and your choices and the many blessings that God has put on this earth. You were created to have dominion. You were created to be the head and not the tail. But we cannot activate those things if we do not know who we are. We don't. We cannot. All right, almost finished. We want to align with our values for greater fulfillment. And these are some of the strategies that you can use. Clarify your core values. And we've done that exercise. And you're going to go to the self-growth worksheet and you're going to complete page 17 as well. So you can clarify your values and really name them so you can live by them. You're going to do things like journaling. How did I show up today? Even if you're not writing is great, but even if you're not writing, just take 5 minutes, even before you go to bed, even before you close your eyes. How did I show up in the world today? Did my values come to the fore or did I go against them? And if you went against them, that's information, that's assessment that you can use for tomorrow. Remember, your ideal self is always being developed. Evaluate decisions through your values. I love that A. Hamilton said earlier. She said, I was in a job and I left that job because it went against my values. Many of us will have to end friendships We'll have to end relationships. We'll have to stop going to certain social gatherings and circles, not because people are bad, no, not because they are worse than us or we're better than them, but because we have to be true to our values. Because we have somebody who we have to be accountable to, and not just God, but the people around us. Because the values you espouse, those are going to trickle down to your children. If you say, I'm respectful, but you're disrespectful to your children, if you say you're respectful, but you're disrespectful to your spouse, if you say you're respectful, but you're disrespectful to your coworker, that will have an impact on all those subsets of people that I just mentioned. And relationships are going to be broken as a result of it. Set boundaries based on your values. Boundaries are not made to exclude. Set boundaries. They're not made to exclude. They're not made to isolate. They are made to protect what is important. So you have to align based on the values. Okay? Saying no. Let me see the last name. V. Stewart or V. Johnson. This is you from last week. Say no based on the values. So you know you're saying no at the right time based on the alignment. Reassess your values over time because values change. I know mine has changed over time. And I've had some real serious realignment of values over the past few months. Serious realignment about what is important and what is no longer important. And it's okay to realign your values. Let's do a wrap up. Let's wrap up. We're at the 1 hour mark. Living by your values, it allows for a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment because your actions and choices reflect your authentic self. What you say, let me come closer. What you say does not reveal your authentic self. Nope. It is your choices, your actions, how you treat others. That exposes who you are. So, by understanding and honoring your values, you're creating a life, a family, a community, a space that is true to who you are. And you're enhancing your well being and sense of accomplishment, as well as the well being and sense of accomplishment for others. People get a clue. People get clues as how they should treat you based on how you show up and how you treat yourself. Say it to one of your classmates. People get a clue. People get clues about how they should treat you based on how you treat yourself and how you treat others. Let's do the check. Introspective question. Question number 1. I'm going to put this full screen. So I'm not on screen, but you're still hearing me. Wrap up and learning check. Were you able to articulate the significance of personal values, the importance of personal values in shaping your identity, influencing behavior, and guiding your life choices? Put a yes in the chat or a no. Were you able to think about that, to process that? Number 1. Number 2, were you able to evaluate different types of impacts that values have on decision making? Lifestyle choices, friendships, how you show up in the world in terms of your goals. Number 3, were you able to engage in self-reflection activities to assess core values, like the self-growth worksheet activity, page 18, and page 17 that you're going to do for homework? And finally, were you able to develop actionable strategies to align daily choices and goals with identified values so you can experience greater fulfillment, satisfaction, and authenticity in your personal and professional life? Taking the time to reflect, to reassess your values, setting boundaries, those are some of the actionable strategies that I shared tonight. I'm coming back on screen. Congratulations. Big things. A big thing. It's worthy. It's worthy. It is noteworthy that you have completed module one. Congratulations! You have completed Module 1, Introduction to Self-Awareness. Lesson 1, we spoke about understanding self-awareness and its importance. Lesson 2, last week, we spoke about exploring personal identity. And then tonight, we spoke about explored identifying the core values. Congratulations. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, feel free to go back and watch the 2 previous lessons and become up to date with what's happening in the course. All right, congrats everybody. Congratulations. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug. You did it. You did it. So next we're going to delve into module 2, which is emotional awareness. That's a huge part of being self-aware, being able to identify and soothe our emotions when they get intense. Remember to stay connected. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Thrive at Eurique. Thrive at Eurique 1. You can visit our website. You can also use the number and screen to contact us for services, online courses, coaching, personal one-to-one coaching, group coaching, speaking services, and so on. So if you want one-to-one coaching for self-awareness, I am here. Just call me, text me, and we can discuss that. All right. Thank you so much, my friends. I really enjoyed tonight. Have a wonderful night, a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next week, Tuesday, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern. Take care. Bye.